I think OKC's the best team in the NBA. I think Golden State's a fluke. And I look at the Lakers at 7-4. I think it is with a rookie head coach, which you mentioned with JJ, being 7-4, I think is actually a real big tip of the cap to them. And I think it's because LeBron's playing at a very high level. I think did they beat up on Memphis because Memphis didn't have Ja Morant? Sure, I don't even care. That's the game that we play now. Star players don't play a lot of games, but you look at that win and you look at the way they won that game and you look at this 3-game heater they're on with Toronto, Philly, and now Memphis. That was a savage performance out of LeBron James last night. And the fact that he went and won me my prize picks bread with 35, 14, and 12.
Yeah, and I think see those,
God damn.
like, obviously he's put up triple doubles in his career, of course, and he's shown to be that kind of player. But I think JJ Redick's system is helping him at this age put up those kind of numbers. Like, again, I always say this in sports, like if you put your best players in a position to be successful more often, you're going to get good results. And I think that's what JJ's system does, is it puts LeBron into matchups that are favorable. And sometimes that means that Bron's on the ball, and other times that means Bron's off the ball. And it really depends. And this is what I love about JJ Redick so far, is that JJ has the ability to say, okay, who's on the floor for the other team and who do I have on the floor and how can we maximize this situation from an offensive standpoint? And it's why I think you're getting all of this action where it's Bron and a secondary player on the elbow without the ball, and they're running a play where someone's going to be wide open.
Rui last night.
Yeah.
3 of 4. And here's the problem with the Lakers. The Lakers need this Rui Hachimura. That you need him, in my opinion, you need him to shoot a high percentage. He's got to shoot 35% from 3 for them to win a lot of games. And yes, Austin Reeves, I think, is playing good basketball. 18-6 last night, which is really good. I think the biggest question is, when are you going to trade D'Angelo and what are you going to get for him? How much better and how much more can you get out of Dalton Connect if you're the Lakers? Because I think he's shown you a couple of performances, and he's a rookie and he has been wildly inconsistent. I would agree with that.
You would expect.
19 points, but then he's coming off of a run of 5-5-3, 2 and 5. And then 19 points. So I agree. You expect him to have some rough spots, but JJ Redick, I think, is doing a really good job. I think that they are a top 5 team in the West when the season's over, but they've got to trade D'Angelo because that is clearly a spot where they've got to improve. When your starting 5 are Reeves, Reddish, LeBron, Rui, and Anthony Davis.
Yeah, gotta upgrade Reddish. Gotta upgrade.
I don't know. I think Cam Reddish is giving you what you need. He is really good defensively. And I think he's doing a really nice job of playing 20 minutes a night and giving you a really productive line. They're better. I'll be honest with you. They are better, in my opinion, with Dalton Connect on the floor on defensively. Well, because he's more active and I think because he's a try-hard guy right now. I think they're better with him on the floor.
And he can shoot the 3. So, know, on offense, you're able to spread the floor more. And then because of that, you're getting higher quality possessions, which means that on the defensive end, you're not being put in compromised positions. And I maintain the biggest issue for D'Lo and why I agree they should move him is because when D'Lo's bad, you're putting up a bunch of 3s from him. And they're long rebounds, and then he gets his ass beat on the defensive end with regularity. So you can't lose both sides of the ball. You can't, as a player, be someone who on your bad shooting night is also getting torched on the defensive end. That doesn't work in the NBA. And that's where I say, you can hate on guys like Dalton Connect or, even a lot of people hate on Reeves. Like, you can hate on those guys for maybe not being the strongest offensive contributors, but they work their ass off on the defensive end and at least are a positive that way and can create momentum that way. So I think for the Lakers, I would agree. You got to move. You got to move D'Lo, but when you move D'Lo this year, you have to get somebody who at a minimum is a contributor on the defensive end. And hey, if they give you 10, 12 points a night, okay, great, perfect. If the guard you bring in for D'Lo can give you 5 to 7 assists, maybe push that on a great night to 10 assists. Awesome, that's great. You want to give JJ Redick as many ways to win a ball game as possible, but what you can't have is a guy who's negative on both sides. You can't do that.
And donuts for $10. Thanks for the chats. Boarding a plane. Have a great weekend. Travel safe, my friend. We'll talk to you next week. Appreciate you very much. Jeremy Bolton. I'd rather watch James Houston sit in Gatorade than watch the NBA, let alone the Lakers.
Well,
okay.
That's your prerogative, bro.
Okay.
That's your...
Did you guys, speaking of James Houston...
Yeah.
You didn't get that.
No.
Dang. Travis Kelce. Pretty much on their podcast, the Kelce brothers talked about this. And Jason Kelce talked about shatting himself.
Jason Kelce says on their podcast that he doesn't believe he sat in Gatorade, that he believes that James Houston shat himself, and that this is why he hates wearing white pants, because this has happened to him before. He told a story where it happened to him in pregame, and he had to go take all his equipment off and basically shower from the waist down because it was so bad, and get a new set of pants, and said it looked exactly the same for him as it did for James Houston.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
But yeah, I don't know. NBA viewership is down, as a lot of people have noted. And I don't know if people just if you just despise the league because of the fouls or what. Like, I enjoy NBA basketball.
I love NBA basketball. Yeah. I'm passionate about the NBA. Like that Victor Wembanyama performance last night, dropping 50. A 50-piece nugget.
Yeah.
I think
Victor's the way.
I think that's one of the great performances that we've seen in the NBA this year. And as much as I don't think that Victor's a championship player, you can't argue what he is doing. And that he scores 50 points. What is my complaint going to be? Well, you almost lost the game, and he only gave you 6 rebounds and 2 assists. And I think that when he scores 50 points, he does it on his own. And so, for my money, I'd much rather see him score 40 points and have a triple-double. I'd much rather see Victor Wembanyama have a 30-point triple-double and they win by 20.
Yeah.
That's what I would much rather see.
Yeah, and he's done that this year. And I think, it's I also think it's tough too. Like, you understand the Spurs are going through this Popovich stroke incident that they're dealing with. I think, you also have to understand that when you play with a guy who's the size of VW and, his style of play, there are some nights where it's going to be tough not to give him the ball, where it's like, he's hot, give him the ball. Like, that's the problem.
For them to win, I think he has to have 30 point, at least double-doubles.
Yeah.
He has to be 30 and 12 to 15 rebounds for them to win. And I think when he does that, they're damn near unbeatable. When he puts up, like, I'm looking at his game log, they beat Sacramento. He had a 34-14 night, right? They beat Portland. He has a 12-8 night. It's Portland. They're terrible. I look at Minnesota. He has 17-6. They win 113-103. 25-9, they win. Houston, 29-7, they win. When he has his biggest games, I think the issue is they can't win. It is I shouldn't say they can't. It's much more difficult for them to win when Victor's scoring like 50 points.
Yeah, and I think, part of Victor's development is going to be what LeBron's talked about so much over his career is like, okay, once you get to a certain point in the league, teams start doubling you and sending the defense to you, which we're already seeing with Victor, but he's going to have to learn how to move the ball a proper way to get his guys open. And I think that's what's tough, man, with star players. Some star players can have the vision and understand, okay, 3 steps ahead of me, I'm going to get the ball. That means the weak side wing's going to be open. I need to skip it over there, or like whatever. Like that process should be happening in a matter of seconds for a guy like VW. He should be able to know, okay, I'm walking up the left side of the floor, ball's on the right side of the floor. we're going to run this set. It's going to come to me, and the defense is going to double.
Yep. Hundo P, brah. San Diego State Glen. Mason Plumlee got torched on defense and offensively stunk last night versus the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the same team without Kevin Durant, who's hurt again.
Yep.
What else is there to say? I mean,
it's very clear, dude. Father Time's catching up.
Devin Booker last night, 18 points, 5 dimes, 3 rebounds, 1 of 4 from 3. You're not beating the Kings with that line. Because who else do you have? Josh Okogie's your leading scorer. Yeah, you're losing most of those games.
Yeah.
Right? Because what did you get from Brad Beal last night? Oh, wait, that's right. He didn't play. Like this, I'm telling you, roster construction for the Suns is a huge problem. And Yusuf Nurkic is a waste of a contract. It's a waste of a contract. And don't get me started on the Suns. Brandon Butler, Lakers are putting way too many miles on LeBron and AD to start the season. They don't have enough in gas in the tank to keep up this pace. I think one of the things that LeBron and AD have talked about is the work they did in the summer to do that. They put, and I think JJ Redick's talked about this. If they're getting blown out, LeBron's not playing the fourth quarter. I think that's exactly the right way to go.
Agreed.
When you're in games and you can win games, LeBron and AD want to play 82 and they want to be in the game and they want the ball in their hands.
And frankly, I think this is more about AD than LeBron. LeBron has shown he can, like, I know he's getting older. I know he's 39 years old, gonna turn 40. I know. But until the narrative changes, until he shows he can't do it, you got to believe he can, because frankly, he has. Like, this is someone who's shown you outside of the year after the bubble season? He had that lower leg, high ankle sprain situation he was dealing with. Outside of that, what major injury has this guy really dealt with? He takes care of his body. Yeah. He is ready.
Yeah, like, I agree.
And I think that the only thing, it's like what I said when we start talking NBA today. Anthony Davis is the guy you got to pay attention to. He's the most important player on their roster. If you keep him healthy, they will be good.
Yeah, and Jeremy Bolton, you're not wrong here. And that is that your interest is at an all-time low this year. A lot of people's interest is at an all-time low. And I again, back to Victor Wembanyama, I know that VW is this amazing player. He is a 0 off the court.
Mm-hmm.
He does not move merchandise. He does not do interviews. He's Shohei Ohtani. He is Mike Trout. It's what's plaguing baseball. Who's the magnetic superstar in Major League Baseball right now? I don't know either. Who's the face of Major League Baseball right now?
Oh, it's Ohtani.
And what does that do for you from a branding perspective?
Nothing good.
Nothing. Now, if you want to talk about the Pacific Rim and Japan, boom. Cubs and Dodgers in Japan, boom.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I totally get it. The problem is there is not a gravitational personality in Major League Baseball. I also think this young crop of stars coming into the NBA they don't have personalities.
And I also think the storylines of the NBA, like remember what we had, and this is something I think y'all got to appreciate and understand where we are. Like, we had prime Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Golden State Warriors. I'm talking pre-Kevin Durant. The Golden State Warriors in their prime coming up to win those championships against Miami Heat, LeBron James and company. Like, that's not something that you just get all the time in the league. Like, you're talking about prime LeBron James at the peak of his powers against the Golden State Warriors, and those two being in separate conferences, dominating their conferences to meet in the NBA Finals. That's why viewership was at an all-time high, and conversely why it's at an all-time low right now, because again, people are waiting for the next thing. It's why Tatum's such a problem. It's why Anthony Edwards needs to grow up and turn into the guy we need him to be. Like, we needs to step forward, and they're not right now.
Yeah, I think the NBA absolutely has a branding problem. I would agree with that. As a Bulls and Jazz supporter, the product on the court are like watching paint dry. Why would I want to watch that? Again, I'm going to Chicago in April. I'm going to see Connor Bedard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to see whoever it is the Bulls have on the floor. I'm not willing to support it. And again, I won't go to a Jazz game this year for a lot of reasons. Mainly, they're in the pooper for Cooper.
Right.
Again. And I just think when you have such poor ownership with the Jazz and the Bulls, you shouldn't expect them to win. You
totally agree.
So I can't spend money on it.
Yeah.
Right. But you look at the NHL and you look at the hockey product. I'm going to support the Blackhawks. I'm going to support the Chicago Cubs. I'm going to the Symphony in Chicago. I'm going to support small business at Superdog. Like, I'm not supporting the Chicago Bulls. I am not. Fat Jesus, the NBA needs Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark. Cooper Flagg can be that guy. He's at Duke. He is a good player. He is going to be the first overall pick without a question.
Yeah, the NBA needs a story, dude. The NBA needs some sort of something to work and cultivate. Like, that's why I'm saying that the whole, because remember what it was before Warriors and Heat, Warriors and Cavs, right?
Yeah.
Basically the Warriors versus Bron. It was Kobe versus the Celtics. It was like we had, younger Kevin Durant versus Bron in the Miami Heat when it was Thunder and Heat in the finals that one year. Like, we had these different options that were happening in the league, and it was a golden era. It was. And it was the second golden era, I believe, the league's had. You had a golden era when it was Michael and Magic and Bird and those guys. And then you had yet another one come up in the 2000 draft and beyond, obviously. And now we don't have that. And now I'm left having to sit here and be like, all right, well, what's our mediocre ass matchup in the NBA tonight? Like frankly, I'm not watching Lakers Memphis because it's Memphis. I'm only watching it because it's Bron. That's it. Like I'm like, oh, man, this is a great
But it's this comment right here about a guy like Luka Doncic. He's not likable.
Yeah.
Is Joel Embiid likable? He's not really likable. Is Giannis Antetokounmpo likable? He's not really likable.
Look at that. That's a great example. Look at the fall from love of the Bucks and Giannis. Nobody likes you. Nobody wants the Bucks to win anything. Dame going there, absolute mistake.
Zero.
Absolute mistake. Like, terrible. Like, where are you going next, Dame? Like, you messed it up. And I can't believe I'm saying that. And I feel bad for Dame. That was a pretty obvious decision that seemed like it would work, and then it just didn't.
You don't have a young gravitational superstar in this league that you can be like, that's my dude. I love that guy. You like watching Victor Wembanyama play.
Mm-hmm.
But are you like, man, he said to drink Sprite. I better go drink Sprite. Does anybody know what shoe does Victor Wembanyama wear? You have no idea. You don't know. And to me, that's a huge issue. Giannis isn't a shoe guy. Giannis isn't a commercial guy. I'm not being like Mike. Hell, I have one of the greatest marketing pieces ever made hanging in my studio. My Gatorade poster. Like, I'm telling you guys, that's the problem in this league. When Steph Curry retires, the last great marketable superstar may go with him because LeBron's not going to be here forever. Steph probably plays longer than LeBron, I would guess. But who's that guy? It's not Devin Booker's not that guy.
KD's past it.
KD's not that guy.
No.
This league needs
not that guy.
This league needs Cooper Flagg to come in here and light the world on fire. They need him to win Rookie of the Year. They need Cooper Flagg to be what Victor Wembanyama is, but with personality and likability.
The other thing too with that, I agree with that completely. The other thing that strikes me about the not having the rivalry thing I was talking about earlier is there's not like a side to pick. Like there's not like okay, maybe you don't have a really marketable guy in the league anymore. But if you have a rivalry, let's say, if you have Bron versus KD or something, or like some kind of, you need some sort of tangible like rivalry or heat between two teams on the floor to make a matchup great. And we just don't have that anymore. And I think part of that is that all these dudes, because of social media, everyone knows they're all friends. No, Steph doesn't hate LeBron. LeBron doesn't hate Steph. KD doesn't hate Bron. Bron doesn't hate KD. Like, they're all boys. We know that. And maybe that's the bigger issue in the league, is that we don't have Jordan rules anymore. We don't have, hey, I'm going to punch you in the face if you think about like stepping to me in the paint. Like, we don't do that anymore.
No.
And maybe that's the problem. Maybe the league, like, I agree the league's gotten softer, but maybe now it is in fact too soft.
We need what we saw out of Steph the other night when he beat Dallas. We need more of those moments, and we just don't get enough of them. All right. Big Daddy Magic. Well, we know where this is going.
Victor's the way.
Victor's the youngest player to get 50. Victor Wu Humble Cooper Flag. Will Humble Cooper Flag. The Jazz can capture the flag. They could capture Marge, but Victor will never let him get to the finals. He's about to own it. He's on one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
The San Antonio Spurs are nowhere near the NBA finals. The NBA product is almost forcing me to like Alex Caruso. Wow. Punch myself in the face. Victor is salt of the earth. Nobody's saying Victor's a bad guy, but nobody wants to be like Victor. Nobody wants to buy his shoes. I'm sure his jerseys sell well.
He's a spectacle, not a relatable guy.
Yeah, he is. I think the difference between a guy like Bron and Victor Wembanyama is Victor is an animal in the circus.
Yeah.
LeBron is the circus. Right? That's the thing that you have to remember, is that you have to be gravitational. Do you watch Victor Wembanyama play? Of course you do. Of course you do. Is he ever an all-time great? Maybe. But if a bear farts in the woods, or excuse me, if a bear sits in Gatorade in the woods, but there's nobody there to question whether he shat himself, did he really sit in Gatorade?
Yeah.
Okay. Chrissy, do you see what that's the Gatorade?
Yeah, it's all connected and works together. You see that?
Cooper Flag will not be Caitlin Clark if he goes to Utah. Utah is a wasteland of talent. The NBA suspension of Ja killed Ja's rise to the face of the NBA. I don't disagree with that.
No.
But Ja killed Ja's rise.
Yes,
Ja got himself suspended.
Ja did that to himself. Don't blame the league for that.
Yeah, come on. Danny Hernandez. Fight off. Tyrese Halliburton has that potential, but he's not.
But see, like, I don't think of Tyrese. Like, I agree, Tyrese is good, but I don't think of him as in the best player in the league conversation. And I certainly don't think of him as like the face of the league. The guy who's the face of the league right now, as far as that younger generation, is Anthony Edwards. He's the guy. He's the guy you need.
I think in the young players, yes. The T-shirt, I think it was Steph. And if I get this wrong, I apologize. I think Steph's put the baby to bed T-shirt where he's doing this. It's sold out. It's sold out on the Warriors online team store, the NBA store, in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Less than 2 minutes. That guy's a gravitational star. There's just nobody behind him. And it should have been Luka. It should be Anthony Edwards, but he flopped at the Olympics, which really hurts him. Jason Tatum, the highest paid player in the history of the NBA, isn't a personality. I think that's the problem. We're going through this generation where people are super talented. They just don't have personalities.
Yes.
And it used to be, well, they're European. It's not that anymore. It's not that anymore. You put a guy like Victor Wembanyama in a big situation in the Olympics, he still performs.
Yeah.
But you can't interview the guy. You can't have Shohei Ohtani on your TV show because he doesn't speak English. I think there's major flaws in all of their, like you look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers should have the most market. Who are the best players on the Dodgers? Shohei Ohtani.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts. Is Mookie Betts that guy?
Not really. I mean, he's a Jordan athlete, ironically.
Isn't Freddie Freeman that guy? But he's not really that guy.
Generally, Freddie Freeman's not that guy. He was an online sensation for 5 minutes.
But look at Aaron Judge with the Yankees. Very quiet, unassuming guy.
Yeah.
We have a generation of athletes, millennials, that are not dynamic personalities. We don't have the golden era of baseball anymore because guys, Jazz Chisholm isn't good enough, but man, that guy's a great interview, right?
Yeah.
Harry Austin, how's my favorite San Antonian this morning? Is the issue that stars are more international players than U.S. born? Yeah, I was just talking. I don't think that is. I don't think that's it. Jeremy Bolton, such a good point on Steph. Steph is an amazing, likable athlete.
Yeah.
You like watching him play golf. You like watching him play basketball. You like watching him play with his kids. Like,
the guy shoots it from a mile. What's not to like?
And he's fun to listen to. He's
Yeah.
a good interview, right? Don may eventually be that guy. Donovan Mitchell could be that
Another guy on the list.
if he goes to New York, right? Take men's tennis. When it's an American star, it's more popular. I don't disagree with that. Today, most of the stars are international greats, which does not create the same buzz here in the U.S. I would agree with that. I would look at all the young golf stars. Why is golf exploding? Because all of your influencers are 20-somethings that are interesting characters. Bob Does Sports or Good, or Bryson DeChambeau.
Mm-hmm.
Great character, great personality, right? We are probably going to be about 3 to 5 slow years in the NBA because we didn't get it from Jordan to Kobe to LeBron. That's very true. That's very true. I would agree with that. Chrissy, the LeBron prime era was one of the best days in the NBA. LeBron was the most hated, and it fueled ratings.
Yeah,
yes, it did.
Right? You see what I mean? Like, people hated Bron.
Yes, it did.
And then you had, dude, I didn't forget about Bron versus the Celtics, dude. Nobody forgot about that.
But think about KG and think about Soda.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with the last comment you showed about how Kobe came before Bron. That's a great point. You had the bridge from Jordan to LeBron.
Yes. Yep. Big Daddy Magic. Victor, Mike G, Alien Shoe Size 20, and High Fusion Shocks from France.
No idea what you're talking about, bro.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. No idea. I never thought the no personality because they're European. No, Luka's got a great personality. He just doesn't win.
And he's unlikable.
And he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a huge problem. All right, finally, Jeremy Bolton. Maybe the NBA needs to hire Mark Harlan for some PR. Stay hard. Like, what are we doing? I love BYU fans, how red ass you guys are. It's your year, man. It is your year. Do you?
Don't lose to Kansas, dude.
Huge preview of that game tomorrow. Yeah. This number right here should terrify you. We were talking about it earlier. Full preview of this game tomorrow. What a week in college football. Football Friday, Giving Friday on the Monty Show tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. It is going to be amazing. As always, the Monty Show is presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. Clear, risk-free advice. Chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365. It won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.